Daylight savings time is upon us again. But this is not the good one, the one where you get more sunlight in the early evening. This is the one where we spring forward, fall back now. Well, we do get an extra hour of sleep, which I do like. I take that one rather personally. When I lose an hour of sleep, I take it out on everyone around me and it gets ugly. Now, it does make it colder in the early evening. That's another video about whining. So we are going to find some daylight savings time weird on today's episode of 5 Weird Things. Welcome to the channel. This is actually being written a few hours before the time change, just for authenticity. Now, I am in favor of the spring-summer daylight savings time and not so much the winter daylight savings time. What about you? You prefer summer or winter, or are you one of those unpatriotic types that just wants it to end? Let me know down in the comments. All right, let's get into it. First, the things we all need to know. Daylight savings time is the practice of setting the clocks forward by 1 hour during the warmer months of the year, typically in spring, to extend evening daylight. This adjustment is reversed in the fall when clocks are set back by 1 hour, effectively shifting an hour of daylight from the morning to the evening. The confused primary goal of daylight savings time is supposedly to make better use of daylight and conserve energy, but that's kind of long since been disproven, so I'm not entirely sure why we still do it. I am in favor of it though. Everybody got that? Good. Weird thing number 5. Daylight savings time and traffic safety. The sleepy driver problem. The Monday after we spring forward is notorious for drowsy drivers hitting the road. Studies show a spike in accidents right after the time change, making it one day where Starbucks should offer a driver's discount. I mean, who knew an hour less sleep could turn the morning commute into bumper cars? There's also pedestrians beware. When daylight savings time ends in the fall, evening darkness hits earlier, which means more pedestrians are out at dusk right as drivers are adjusting to the sudden twilight, and it's the drive home. It's like nature's way of reminding everyone, hey, eyes on the road. Street crossing in November is not for the faint of heart. And then there's sunlight, the original road rage tamer. More daylight in the evening actually reduces road rage. With the sun still up, people are less likely to take out their frustrations on the horn, even if someone's still driving 5 miles an hour under the speed limit. It turns out daylight is like nature's very own stress ball for driving. The risky spring forward. Car accidents spiked by about 6% in the week after the clocks spring forward. Losing an hour may not seem like a big deal until you realize it can mean 1 in 10 people rolling to work with mismatched shoes and the rest driving like they've forgotten where the brake pedal is. And more than just drivers. Daylight savings time doesn't affect just car drivers, it even has an impact on bike and scooter commuters. With brighter evenings, two-wheeled travelers get a safer ride home. Just remember, not every driver sees you. So if you're out there on your bike after the spring shift, maybe add an extra glow stick or two, just to be safe and stylish. Weird thing number 4. Who started this nonsense? Now here are 5 examples of historical situations that pushed daylight savings time into the mainstream. Blame it on the bugs. Daylight savings time's earliest active proponent, George Hudson, was an 1895 entomologist who just wanted more daylight to chase bugs after work. So yes, the modern world's yearly clock confusion was inspired by a guy with a deep passion for insects. Daylight savings time might not make everyone happy, but the Beatles are probably still thrilled. And Ben Franklin's bright idea. In 1784, Ben Franklin cheekily suggested waking up earlier to save candles in a letter to a French newspaper. He didn't propose actually changing the clocks, but his satire planted the seed. If only Ben knew that his humorous idea would eventually cost us an hour of sleep every spring. World War I's War on Darkness. Germany was the first country to officially adopt daylight savings time in 1916 to save fuel during World War I. It wasn't about enjoying the sunsets, it was all about conserving coal. When the Kaiser's government started messing with the clocks, other countries followed suit, and daylight savings time was soon spread faster than wartime gossip. And there's an agricultural myth. Many people believe daylight savings time was created for farmers, but farmers actually hated the idea. The time change messed with their routines and it confused livestock. So next time you hear daylight savings time was for the benefit of agriculture, remember, cows don't care what the clock says, they moo at dawn regardless. Now, Britain tried to one-up the concept. In the early 1900s, Englishman William Willett pushed for the British summertime to give people more sunlight. He even suggested a 4-stage clock shifting process every Sunday in April. Britain finally adopted a simpler daylight savings plan in 1916, but if they'd gone with his version, they would move the clocks up 20 minutes every Sunday. Seriously questioning our grip on time and reality. I'm glad they didn't do it. Weird thing number 3. Daylight savings time, health effects. The sleep slap. When we spring forward, it's like losing an hour in a blink, and our bodies are not fans. That one missing hour is enough to mess with our sleep cycles, making us groggier, crankier, and oddly more likely to forget where we left our keys. It's like jet lag minus the exotic destination. There is a heart attack spike. Daylight savings time may have a not-so-friendly relationship with our hearts. Studies show that the risk of heart attacks jumps by 24% on the Monday after we spring forward. Who knew that moving the clock 1 hour could put so much pressure on the old ticker? Apparently, hearts don't like time changes any more than we do. The zombie commute. When daylight savings time starts, people are suddenly operating on less sleep, which makes the morning commute a bit of a horror show. Sleep-deprived drivers are prone to more accidents, and pedestrians get more cautious because no one's sure if they're stopping or just slowing down to ponder the meaning of life. Now, sleepwalking into junk food. After daylight savings time starts, studies show people tend to make poorer food choices. Now, we're talking about extra snacks and fast food. It's as if our brains, deprived of an hour, go straight to the "hey, treat yourself" mode. You might not remember what time it is, but your cravings certainly know when the drive-thru opens. Now, the Monday blues gets real. The Monday after daylight savings time starts isn't just rough, it's actually linked to higher levels of workplace injuries. That's right, more mishaps, stumbles, coffee spills happen when we lose an hour. Daylight savings? Keep Band-Aid manufacturers in business, one bleary-eyed Monday at a time. Weird thing number 2. Daylight savings time around the world. Iceland. Hey, no thanks, we're good. Iceland, sitting happily near the Arctic Circle, skips daylight savings time altogether. Now, they already have months of near total daylight in the summertime and hardly any in winter, so adjusting clocks would be like putting whipped cream on a snowman. A little weird and completely unnecessary. Australia's time tango. Australia has a unique daylight savings time situation where only parts of the country observe it. Some states spring forward, some don't, some barely seem to notice. Picture trying to schedule a Zoom call across New South Wales, Queensland, and the Northern Territory. It's like trying to sync up a band with 3 drummers, each on a different beat. Japan's permanent standard time party. Japan tried daylight savings time briefly in the 1950s, but found the whole ordeal too confusing and they abandoned it. Now they're staunchly on standard time year-round. When asked about daylight savings time, they basically say, "We tried it once, that was enough." If only we could all be so decisive. India's single time zone Zen. India, one of the largest and most populous countries in the world, keeps it simple with a single time zone and 0 daylight savings time changes. While everyone else is fussing over lost or gained hours, India just watches the time change drama from afar, wondering why we don't just meditate and let it go. Chile's flip-flop decision. Chile has always had an on-again, off-again relationship with daylight savings time, changing its mind so frequently that locals barely know whether they're supposed to be setting their clocks or leaving them alone. It's the timekeeping equivalent of a soap opera, with daylight savings time coming and going like a character who just won't leave the show, and might have an evil twin. And finally, weird thing number 1, daylight savings time and public transport. The train conundrum. In some places, when daylight savings time kicks in, trains have to adjust their schedules to avoid running into confusion. This means conductors often joke about traveling back in time to avoid being late. leaving passengers wondering if they accidentally boarded a DeLorean heading back to the future instead of the express train. Airlines and time zone Tetris. Airlines love daylight savings time for scheduling, but it can make time zone calculations feel like a game of Tetris. Just when you think you've figured out your arrival time, somebody decides to switch the clocks and suddenly your 3 p.m. flight becomes a "will I even arrive today" kind of ordeal. Frequent flyers might just start carrying around a daylight savings time survival guide. It also confuses bus timetables. Buses don't always adjust their schedules perfectly for daylight savings time. You could be standing at the bus stop, checking your watch, when the bus rolls up an hour early or late, looking at you like, "You think I'm here to entertain you?" It's like an impromptu game of guess the arrival time. Riding the daylight savings time wave. Some public transportation systems, particularly in big cities, report increased ridership after daylight savings time starts because people are more likely to stay out later. So when you're waiting for the subway with a crowd of fellow night owls, remember it's not just the coffee that's keeping everyone awake, it's the extra daylight too. And the great vacation confusion. For those traveling to destinations that don't observe daylight savings time, it can lead to a hilarious case of lost in time. You might arrive at your vacation spot thinking you've got a whole hour to spare, only to find out your hotel check-in was a full hour ago. Surprise! You've effectively traveled back in time, and it's definitely not as much fun as it sounds. Well, that's it for today's episode. I hope it either told you something you didn't know before, or at least annoyed the crud out of you. Thanks for watching either way. Please like, subscribe, share the video, click on more of my videos because I would really appreciate it. And for those still watching, today's code word is spring forward, fall back, because I first heard that jingle in Catholic school 50 years ago, and it is still running through my head. So put that down in the comments because you know you've had it in your head for years too. Take care, have a great day.